Alright guys, we're really close here. It's really late, but I really want to get this done. Alright, so you're going to use B23. You're going to have this last bracket here. Either way, it's going to be one of the last brackets that you have. And it actually mounts like this, apparently. Okay? But before we do that, have to mount this crazy piece. So, this is the part that says extruder motor. So we're going to mount that with one hole like this. Oh, I'm pretty sure this is supposed to go like this. So we're going to go ahead and mount one of these guys. And again, I'm using an M8 washer. And there's 3 holes on this cord snake here. I'm just going to add it to the center back one. Okay, it seems to be working. Put the washer on there so that way it actually sits more flat. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a screw that goes into here that goes like this. The bracket's going to hold it like this, like so. So, I'm going to get one more screw here. I'm going to attach it to the bracket first. Okay, so I think on this one we're going to be you're going to use 2 screws. Okay, so I've rethought this over. And the 3 holes, I'm going to put it in the top left of the 3. And this one is going to go to this side, the right side of the bracket. It's going to go through that with a T-nut, like so. And then you're going to add another one here with a T-nut also. And now you're going to add those in the extrude. You're going to move the bracket all the way to the very left. And you're going to tighten down. Okay, it took a lot longer than I thought it would, but we got it. So now you're going to move these cables into the little notch. That's right there. This is the X limit switch. We're going to move that later. And then I believe it's going to go like this. Get one more of these T-nuts using M8 washer. And we're just going to attach it to this side of the bracket. Get that nice and tight with the washer. So we got our little stepper motor cable here. We're probably going to undo that and then just mount it perfectly to the back of the side right here. Now this side, we're going to do the same thing but with a T-nut. So we're going to mount this, I believe at the very bottom. It's probably the best bet. I don't think it's going to get below that, so we'll use another T-nut, another M8 washer. We're working down here. Put this through that center hole. We're going to go ahead and screw that through. Okay, now we're going to get a T-nut. Put the T-nut in there. Tighten that down with the washer. This is set to go. Retighten my brackets. Perfect. Got it going all the way. Freaking love that. So I'm going to go ahead and hook up what I can here. This might be it for the night. Okay, give myself a little bit extra space. Boom. Okay, now I can pull that through. This looks pretty damn amazing. Not gonna lie. Now this is the X limit switch. So I'm gonna have to do that one later. Alright guys.
Tomorrow.
Alright guys, so now that we got this wire bundle set up top here and I got this extruder kind of hooked up, I'm probably going to take off this wire cover. It looks too bulky to me. It's already bugging me. But what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to start getting into this wire bundle here. This was stuck in between here, but this is the Z motor, and in order for it to get it to look clean, which is going from here, barely see the wire come down. I got the little extruder insert pieces or whatever that is here. I have it jump across, and then I have it going all the way down through here, down to here. And then I have its own wire kind of sitting off, so I'm probably going to extend that or do something with that one. Got my 2 limit switches here, which is going to be for my Z and my Y, so that's going to be good. Z is going to be pretty simple. It's probably just going to run itself right here or something and then just stop it. The Y, I got to kind of figure this out. I'm probably going to take it out of this little loom too, because I want to get the limit back here and then run that wire into the extrudes too, so you can get rid of any of the wires showing. I'm a gigantic hater of wires. So as you can see, you could probably use something like this after the fact just to get the wires to be nice and hidden. So this one here I'm working on right now. I just hooked it up. Let me see if I can turn this. I hooked this wire in. I'm probably going to either tape this, which was probably what I'm going to end up doing, and then I'm going to run it down to the bottom here, and then I'm basically going to hide these. So I'm probably going to take it out of this sleeve just so I can see where it ends up being, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so we're going to use our B14 bag kit, the 3 limit switch mounts, and we're gonna basically get them ready and set up on all the limit switches. That way we can get going. Alright, so for your limit switches here, you're gonna have 3 CNC'd parts. It's gonna be 14, 15, and 16. You're gonna have 3 M3x8 screws, 3 M4x10 screws, and 3 T-nuts. So let's get going. Alright, so I'm going to start with my X one because I want to try and figure out how I'm going to hide the wire because it's already kind of bundled in here. And so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to set your limit switch into the actual bracket. They should line up. Okay, so they fit in there nice and snug. Let's adjust it to where the holes line up, and then we can add a little. Actually, I don't want to damage the limit switch, so I'm going to add a washer. I know we probably shouldn't, but you know how I am with washers. I'm gonna add a number 6 washer to this. I love these little washers. They're so sweet. Just disperse the pressure here. Okay, so we're just gonna add that washer on there. I'm holding it center. Cool. We got that mounted, and I got it tightened. Okay. Now you're gonna add your T-nut here, and you'll be set to go. So I'm not sure how I'm gonna hide the wire here. Let's see how close this is gonna sit. Okay, so you're actually gonna move this piece all the way up, and then you're going to add it to the very first extrude slot. You're going to add it to the very first extrude slot that is closest to the back of this piece here. Cool, so we got that just nice and snug there. I got to find out how far I need this to go before it hits. Basically a little bit further, because it's going to go just to the very end of that, and it's actually knocking into it right now. So now I'm just putting this stuff in there. I put one on this side, about the same size as this, and now I'm going to put one wire cover on this side, and you saw how big that size was. Cool. And now that switch is nice and hidden, nice and clean. The wire is sitting here like this. I like that. I'll probably tighten some of these ones up. The stepper wire here, that's going to the extruder motor. I can actually pull that one, motor E, get that one to kind of tighten up in there also. Okay, nice clean wires. Then I can maybe wrap this around it and zip tie it there, and that'll make a really nice looking spot right there for the wires. Other than that, this is all good. The X-axis works. It should stop right where it needs to. Now let's work on the next limit switch. Okay, so we're going to repeat the process, starting with the Z limit switch now. This will be the next easiest one to do. Can I just slide this in? Is that going to be easier? I believe it is. Yeah, it's kind of like a keyhole almost. So we're going to slide that in. Okay, so we're going to just push it in, slide it down. Man, these are really sturdy. Okay, get it aligned. Oh, I need another washer. Okay, added the M6 washer. Okay, then we're going to add our T-nut. So what we're going to do here to get the Z down to where we need to is I'm just going to actually pull the center of the belt, the front side, and then I'm just going to rotate that down until it gets as low as I need it to. So now I've set it to where the nozzle just above the bed, and then we can adjust this metal section here so that it is aligned, and I think they use it on the front section here like this. So I'm not entirely sure how much distance between the switch, but that's the best part because you can always adjust it. Okay, that should be good. As far as cable management, that's going to be something I have to figure out now. Okay, so now I just put one of those little extrude hiders, having the wire run just past it. I'm not sure I like that at all, but it'll have to do for now. So I'm going to go ahead and mount the last limit switch. So now I'm just using a ruler to align the front of the nozzle. Alright, so I'm not sure if it's supposed to go off of what the bed triggers or underneath the plate. So I actually set it to the plate so it's a little bit lower and set to that. So anyway, now I'm going to go ahead and hide my stepper wire here into the extrude, and then as I get to it, hide my second wire here for the actual limit switch, which is going to be over this way. So I'm going to figure out how to hide those pieces or those wires, and then we'll be done there. Cool. Alright, so now we're going to start the control box wiring. You're going to get your control box pack. One of the main things you're going to do after you've assembled your control box, which is the first thing that we did, is attach your LCD wires here. So let me just open these up. Perfect. There's 2 of them. Nice and short so they can be compact inside the machine. And then we're going to flip these over here because we are going to attach them to this section first. So if you see up here, 2 little slots for this. So we're just going to add them on there first. Okay. And then we're going to tuck these under the power cord here. So just for reference, on my board, this one here is EXP1 and this one's EXP2. So you're going to follow each wire until plug them into the corresponding ones, which EXP1 is the top one and EXP2 is the bottom one. So follow this cable here. EXP1 is this guy, so we'll plug him in, and then EXP2 is obviously the other guy, so we'll plug him in also. Okay, cool. Let's push those cords off to the side, get them out of the way, and that's nice and clean. We can always work on the power cord later. These guys here are kind of in the way, so I'm going to try and set them aside. So now we're going to actually work on the power cord. So the L cable with the crimp on it that comes off the power button is actually going to go to the right side of the power switch down there. So I'm going to try and tuck this underneath everything else. I'm actually going to zip tie all this down afterwards because we don't want any of this wiring to hit the fan. Okay, there we go. So the blue one's on the right, black's on the left. Okay, so all these little things I'm actually going to crimp into some connectors that I have, and then I'm going to screw them down. Okay, cool. So we're going to take the 2 wires labeled N, and we're going to put them together. Okay, and that should be good. So now we're going to go ahead and screw that in to the location that shows N. So we're going to put our little crimp through the screw, and then we're going to screw it in to where it says N. And we're screwing that down all the way nice and tight. So if you can. Okay, so got most of that done now. The last wire we're going to have to crimp is L, which goes right next to it, as you can see by the label, N and L. And then this brown one here is actually supposed to be a ground. Alright, so we're going to take out the L screw. I'm going to match a crimp that fits the size. That's perfect. And then we're going to actually crimp that to our L wire. Okay, so we're just going to get the wiring to sit nice and flush into the crimp. And then we're going to crush that crimp on there. Should be good. Nice and tight. And now we're going to screw that into L. Okay, now we're going to zip tie the rest of this stuff closed. Alright, so as far as your power wires, this is how everything on mine came out looking. So I got my LCD cables zip tied to my power button cables, and all the corresponding N and L wires that go to the power input plug here are going to the N and L portion of the power supply. And then you got, I believe, 3 positives and 3 negatives for different accessories and stuff like that. So there we go. Alright, since we have all this part pretty much wired to the board already, how they needs to be, I'm just going to cut off the zip tie and then literally just zip tie this bundle, making sure everything is on there. And this could be a temporary zip tie, because if we're going to be adding the BL touch and stuff like that, we're going to need to adjust all these things. So this whole loom right here, part of this, I think I'm going to have to just route all of this out to the back Okay, so this is the power bed, or the heat bed wire. So let me untangle the heat bed wire. It's like the longest one away from everything else. Here we go, check that out. Okay, and then I'm just going to everything and route it out the back. Every little switch, clip, everything. Sorry, I'm not getting the camera angle. Okay, once we got all this wire loom bundled out of the back, I'm going to zip tie it all together here so it doesn't touch the fan. Okay, one more zip tie in the back here. And nice and tidy. Last thing I'm going to do here is add the fan wiring to the power supply. Okay, we got them crimped, so now we're just going to maneuver them to where they each need to go. Whew. Okay, I got the first positive going to number 1 and the first negative going to number 4, because it's going to go 1, 4, 2, 5, and 3, and 6. We're going to call that good for now, because I'm not going to put any LEDs on there, and we're actually going to try and plug it in and see if it turns on. So here we go. Here is the finished product. Nice and clean. Alright. Moment of truth. This power adapter plug-in's kind of weak. The acrylic flexes. Here we go. Okay, what we thought was a catastrophic fail there was actually just me not putting 12 volt power to the main board from the power supply. So we're going to add those wires now, and then we'll try again. So we've taken our main board off, and we're going to add a positive to where it shows positive on this terminal here. Now what's cool is if you choose to, they've actually given you the option of wiring it directly to the motherboard, which I recommend. I'm going to actually solder it to that section there later on once I actually do an upgrade video. So now we're just going to go ahead and place the board back in place. Whew. Okay, after a long struggle, I got the board off, attached those to the 12 volt port on the motherboard, and I got these crimped. So now I'm going to take off number 2, the number 2 screw, and I'm going to add the hot side through that bolt into that port there. Cool. Now we're going to do the same thing with the other side, but that's going to be on number 5. Okay, take out the bolt completely, throw it in here. Okay, I'm just making sure that all these wires are nice and tight. We're going to close the hatch, put our cover back on. We're going to plug it in, and this time we're really going to turn it on. It's the moment of truth. Okay, so I feel like a complete idiot. The only problem with the machine was that I had to switch it from 220 volt to 110 volt. So now we're gonna hook up the thermistors and stuff like that, so we don't get a min temp error, and so we can actually put most of these wires right here together with the other ones, just to see if we can get the printer to start moving. Alright, that's it. All your wiring's done. So just after some cleanup, get rid of this stuff out of here. You're all ready to go. Here's how I did the wiring. Got some little, let me see here if I can focus. Let me just focus this on my own. So, as you can see, I went from here. So it goes straight down. Goes here. A little trick to hold these things in place is use a tiny bit of hot glue. The wire goes here. I zip tied this here so it looks nice and tidy. Zip tie, zip tie. Little thing to keep the wires connected, holding it up with the zip tie. Another zip tie here, connection here, and a connection here. And I might try and either shove all this into the box or just leave it like that, I guess, behind the desk. And then this fan is definitely really loud, and it doesn't need to be running that fast. So I'm definitely going to buy a fan controller again and probably just mount it on the top of the box here, or maybe like drill some holes and put the 4 fan control modules, little potentiometers here in the front. But other than that, there you go. As far as the USB cord, I just had to cut a tiny little hole in the acrylic. Some people use a really low profile right angle USB cable going through there and then have it coming out the back, but I just have its own little separate cable going there. And then now we're gonna set up the firmware. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the assembly videos, and have a good one.